Hey everybody, what's up and welcome to Into the Necrosphere. This is episode number 52 and joining me today is a very special guest, Jhonathan Villamizar of Selbst. He is the author of one of the year's best records in my opinion, and unless you've been spending your time listening to false podcasts, you will know that I am talking about Relatos De Angustia, available right now on Debba Mumorti. If you are into black metal of any variety, Selbst have really set the bar unbelievably high in 2020 with this one. Before we go into that in more detail, though, it's time for a demo. This one comes to us from Sweden via Virginia. A guy by the name of Evan Hopper reached out to me on the Into the Necrosphere Facebook. We ended up talking offline for, I think, about an hour and a half. And quite honestly, I'm sorry in hindsight that we didn't record that as a podcast. But I think I may well invite the young man over to have a chat at some point. Either way, he has a project called Quell, spelled Quell, which I really enjoyed. He's put out a demo, or a self-titled demo, I should say. 4 tracks available on Bandcamp. It kind of reminds me of the halfway mark between post-black metal like Death Heaven, and maybe some more modern death metal like Uada, but definitely worth your time. This is my favorite track off the EP. It's called The Servants. Was The Servants by Quell. I will post the link to the Quell EP on the description of this podcast. So do go and check it out. And if you do check it out and you buy some music or you buy some merch, I don't actually know if he does have any merch, but in the event that he does, and you buy it, then tell him that Into the Necrosphere sent you. And like I said, he and I had a great conversation offline, so I think I will probably be inviting him onto the show at some point. Speaking of conversations, the conversation with Jhonathan is coming up in just a second. Also stay tuned after that because I'm going to be reviewing the new Napalm Death. And and I'm also going to be reading some news. A couple of reminders before we get started. Do check out the show on Twitter at iNecrosphere, Instagram at Into the Necrosphere, and wipe the grease off your little digits and search for Into the Necrosphere on Facebook, because I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find it rather easily. Also, check out the Into the Necrosphere Teespring store if you want to buy t-shirts, masks, hoodies, and whatnot. If you have a lady friend in your life and you think that some yoga tights will look good on her with the Into the Necrosphere logo, get her those. You will be able to rest easy in the knowledge that you won't be supporting a fucking bullshit ass place like Lululemon, who sell their yoga pants for $128 and then say that they're resisting capitalism when they do it. But anyway, coming up next week, I've got Kelly Schaefer from Atheist. He's going to be joining me for the 4th installment of my Death Metal Countdown. And if you haven't checked it out yet, make sure you check out the first 3 parts. On part 1, I had the great Marco of Stellar Master Elite. Part 2, I had Matt Wilcock of Werewolves, Bremelin, the Antichrist Imperium, and God knows what else he's in. He, invariably tends to be in about 6 or 7 bands at any point in time. And then last week, I posted part 3, which had Dan from Crimson Throne. So check those out and get up to speed with what's been going on. And in the meantime, please welcome for the first time ever to the show my very special guest, Jhonathan Villamizar of Selbst. Jhonathan, welcome to Into the Necrosphere. A very big moment for me, because I've been a massive, massive fan of everything that Selbst does ever since I discovered the debut record in 2017. I think I'm even more excited by the fact that the new record has been such a massive step up. But I wanted to start off by asking you, how do you feel about the response to the new album? Because I think, uniformly, it seems to have been, just overwhelmingly positive. I don't know a single person who doesn't think it's one of the best records of the year.
Yes, it has been a great surprise, for me, because I wasn't expecting this kind of feedback from people. Maybe I was expecting something more like, maybe people will prefer the first album instead of this new one. I don't know. It was my first recording doing vocals. My first recording, where with me
Sorry,
having.
Do me a favor, just hold on for 2 seconds. I'm busy showing off my house. I just need to let the estate agents in and we'll carry on. Hold on.
Okay.
Right, sorry about that. Sorry, so carry on. You were saying this was the first time that you'd recorded vocals?
First time I was recording vocals. It was so important for me, because from the beginning, I always was working with someone else to do that job. It feels like, a little strange for me, because my lyrics are like more personal now.
Yeah.
So it feels like strange to have another person singing those lyrics. So this album is really important for me because of that. Now I'm seeing that, like I just said, like people is like giving like a good feedback to the album, and that is really important for me, and it's a big surprise, of course.
Yeah. And that's the thing that I'm always so blown away by. Like, I know you and I exchanged messages on Facebook, and you mentioned being surprised by it there as well, but it's like, it's so good. Like, did you not, how did you feel about the music while you were busy writing and recording it? I mean, did you feel like you were putting out something that was great, or was, I guess, I'm trying to, what I'm trying to get at is, sometimes you're very confident about something, it's gonna be successful, the fans are gonna like it. I kind of get the sense from you that you weren't really sure, and you just sort of put out what you produce what you produce, and you put it out and see what comes of it.
I wasn't expecting like anything, that when I'm making music, I just focus on music, and what it's like how I feel making it, playing it, listening, and I was only like thinking about that, about enjoy what I'm doing. I wasn't like expecting something, maybe more something bad, because sometimes I'm the kind of person who is like pushing down, like myself, like mm, I don't have like that confidence,
Yeah.
on what I'm doing, and I just try to enjoy and being the more relaxed I can be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this has been, of course, a big surprise.
Yeah. Yeah.
It,
So
it
you
sounded
mentioned,
good for me, the album. I was listening while I was recording. I mean, it sounded good. That
yeah, yeah,
was like my thing.
yeah. And you mentioned about kind of guess being very critical of yourself while you're writing music. How does that translate to the recording process? I mean, are you taking 3-4 weeks to record a single guitar track, or is it kind of how I guess how hard are you on yourself when you're in the studio and you're actually putting together the music? Because I also get the impression, and I want to talk about that a bit more in a little bit, but that I mean, obviously this was a very solitary affair. And I think I know you had a drummer, but everything else is all you. Production, recording, writing, everything is you.
Mm, the recording process for me is like it's fast. I just sit and record. All the guitars and bass was recorded in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I took 2 weeks. It's really quick. It's well said, like quick, like fast, like maybe the most difficult part for me is the composing part. That's where I take a lot of time, where I suffer a lot, like trying to fix, to combine the guitars with the bass, everything, the vocals. But the recording process is really really quick for me.
mm.
It's like I made the vocals in our rehearsal room. I went there with my interface, my laptop, my microphone, everything, and I just let it, how you say that, like flow.
Yeah, yeah,
I just let things flow, and it was easy for me. It's easy to record
yeah.
more than compose the music.
I hadn't realized that you did this was the first time that you did vocals. I assumed for some reason that you had done it on the first record as well. And I was super impressed by the vocal performance on this album, amongst many things. But where did your vocal style come from? What were your influences in order to get that sound? Because not only I think is it a very powerful performance, but it's quite unique as well. It sounds almost kind of slightly unhinged, if I could describe it that way. I don't know if you know what that word means, but basically crazy, but
Okay.
crazy in a good way. It sounds like it sounds like it was designed to be crazy.
Okay. If there was something that I learned a lot, it was when I was working with Nicolas von Fry. I learned a lot from him. Um, he didn't teach me, like directly, like you have to do this, but I learned watching them, and I think that was something really, really important in my process of learn how to sing, and I didn't think like I want to sing like this guy or that guy. For me, it was more like I need to do something that sounds good, and with I feel comfortable, doing it, because I always had problems learning, with my throat. Um, so the most important for me was to sing like comfortable, like something like that. I wasn't thinking like to how you say that, to seeing that like someone. It was
Yeah.
only like I have to sing, I have to make it or do it properly. That was the
Yeah,
important
like
thing.
I think I heard someone describe it once as saying that if you're doing it right, you should be able to have a normal conversation afterwards, or you should be able to sing in key straight after without any problems. And I mean, I think now it's improved because there's actually quite a lot of people doing lessons and people have learned quite a lot. But if you listen to some of the older stuff, you listen to an old Mayhem record, or you listen to a lot of old death metal albums. I mean, those guys were absolutely killing their throats.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. They didn't have like someone to learn. They just try to, I don't know, to make it possible in any way. I don't know.
yeah.
Of
Well,
course,
they were.
I saw some, typical YouTube lessons, something like that, to take like some tips, but it wasn't. The most important part was like seeing Nicolas singing in the last session. I didn't have the chance to see someone doing something like that. I learned a lot in that
By the
session.
way, I'm sorry to interrupt. I've just noticed in the background your cat just
Yes.
opened the door.
Yes, it's terrible.
So I wanted to ask you. You moved from Venezuela to Chile in 2016,
Yes.
and why did you decide to move over?
I decided because it was like too difficult for me to make music in Venezuela. Of course, there is a lot of problems. Like I think, like now, most of people know, but it was so difficult to me to focus on doing anything living there, because all these social economic problems, um, it's more easy for me to do something here. Here you have like a more normal life, because
Yeah.
everything is normal here. You don't have to go to, I don't know, to how you say that, like I mean, there is no this shortage, here in Chile, of basic goods or something like that. And Venezuela is everything so much complex,
Yeah, you have to stand. I mean, I all I know of Venezuela is things I see on documentaries, but obviously I've seen the people standing queuing for food, and the shops running dry, and transport and stuff not working. And when you said it was hard for you to concentrate on music, is it really kind of the stresses or the difficulties and complications of ordinary day-to-day life that you're referring to there, or was there kind of something more to it?
exactly something like that. It ends like affecting you in every way possible, because you don't know what will happen next week, something like that. You
Yeah.
need to be a little more quiet. I don't know how you say that, like with the situation, of the country, because the environment, of course, will get like an effect on you. Um, and that, I think that was the first reason why I moved to Chile.
And Chile, as you said earlier, has been a lot more accommodating to being able to make music. If things are a lot calmer there.
Well, yes, it's like it's a bigger scene here, talking about metal, about music in general. It's a country with problems, of course, but it's not the same kind of problems we had in Venezuela.
Yeah. What was the scene like in Venezuela? Because the I think one of the things when I heard Selps the first time, it wasn't just that it was a good band that came out of Venezuela, because it's not, at least in the UK, or and then most circles that I've traveled, in all parts of the world. Venezuela is not exactly where you would expect, great black metal to come from. But it wasn't just for me that it was a great black metal band. It was how mature the music sounded and how kind of well written and how well developed it was, if that makes sense to you. It sounded like the sort of music that you would hear coming out of a scene that's been around for 2 decades or for 3 decades, where there's lots of bands and there's lots of people making music together, and almost like a little bit like Poland or Iceland, if where there's kind of that local competition almost. So I was curious to understand what's the actual scene like over there first and foremost.
In Venezuela, the scene is really small. I think it was always small, but there was like bands, like promoters. We had some international bands playing there, but with all this stuff, these problems, it was like every time less how you say that, like a common, to see concerts of, and it was always small, but you could find bands there. I wasn't like how you say that, the most known person, in the scene. I was like apart from that. So maybe I have no an image, of what was happening exactly, but I knew like the important bands, I was always like looking for new music in my country, and most of the time it wasn't like good for me, I think that it's not important where are you from. If you want to make music, you can make it right, you can make it well done, but in general the scene was always small, and now is different because many of people, of bands or whatever that was in Venezuela are like me, living in other countries. There's plenty people who went to Colombia. Here in Chile, there's plenty people. It's like a small micro scene of Venezuelan people here in Chile with their bands, with their everything. That's good because we can, or it gives to these people like the opportunity to be more known outside the country. When it wasn't like the best way, because you have to abandon our families, whatever. But there's something good in all this situation, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
And now it's like more Venezuelan bands or projects being known outside the country. There's some bands releasing good stuff, and that's something good. It's something really good.
So, have you left behind many friends and family members in Venezuela?
Yes. Now, most of them are living in other countries.
Yeah.
At least, for example, the drummer who made the session for my demo and my EP is living here now.
Okay.
But it's all a problem. We have to leave plenty people behind. That's a shit. I don't know how you say that.
No, and I can relate. I had to do the same thing in South Africa. I moved out of South Africa in 2002 to come to the UK, and my mom and dad still live there, as does my sister. And I've got many friends there. South Africa isn't nearly as bad as Venezuela as far as social economic problems are concerned. But I mean, I think, in my personal opinion, and this is a complete side conversation, but all the indicators are there that it doesn't have a particularly bright future. So it's concerning because you leave people that you love behind and you want the best for them, but you can also see the writing on the wall, and you can see what the future is going to look like if they stay there. But I was curious, and forgive my ignorance in this question, but I just kind of day-to-day life, how is the culture in Venezuela different to the culture in Chile?
I think we are a little how you say that, like alike, life is almost the same. Maybe people in Venezuela is a little more happy, something like that. We had this some kind of heritage of this how you say that, Caribbean, Caribbean, um I don't know, something like that. People in Venezuela a little more, like like happy. People
Natural
here,
rhythm, yeah.
so people here has a little more, more, they, I don't know. It's like it takes more time to people here to be like more open. People in Venezuela is more open, like a first sight. It's like, I don't know. It's funny,
You can go up to somebody in Venezuela and say hello, and generally speaking,
so
they'll be quite friendly back to you.
exactly,
Whereas, yeah, yeah,
something like that. But in general, life was the same for me. Nothing, nothing like too different. I don't know.
yeah. So getting back to the new record, obviously this was the first album that you've put out on Debimo Morti, a label that I've spoken about many times on the show. And I think that they are amongst certainly my favorite labels on the planet right now in terms of the quality that they put out consistently every single year. But how did that deal happen? Did they reach out to you? Did you submit anything to them? How did it come that you signed with them?
When the first album was released, they brought to me. It was a big surprise, because
I can imagine.
I knew the label from many years, and I have some stuff from the label. I was thinking like, wow, this is like a joke or something, but I started talking with them. I don't know. We had like an agreement in 2 3 emails, something like that, and it was done. It was a big surprise for me. And now when the album came out, it was like, you know, it was at next level. They are very compromised with everything. Like I don't know, with promotion, with, I don't know. It is a next step for me.
Yeah, yeah. And
Um,
they definitely put a lot of weight behind promoting the new record as well, which was great to see. They they really got behind it. It was a bit like the last Versio Humanitatis record. They made a big deal of the album coming out. You had that really great looking vinyl that they brought out with the album as well.
yes.
So, but yeah, you say it was a shock. Did any other? I mean, surely other labels would have reached out to you as well. Did other labels contact you outside of Debimo Morti?
On just them, only them
Yeah.
contacted me, and it was like, I don't know if it was like 1 month after the first album was released, something like that. It was like quickly. I don't know. It was a big surprise for me, a big surprise. And I feel like they are doing a great job as always. It feels like they put the same effort in every release they made. Is great.
Yeah. And I mentioned Diversio Humanitatis. I had Simon on the show not too long ago, and he was saying that he'd been doing some production work, I think, on this album, and he was saying to me like, "Wait until you hear this. This is really, really, really good." Was Simon did he only do production work, or did he do drumming? What was his involvement on the new Selbst record?
He did the mixing, mastering, the reamping session. We recorded the drums here in Chile. It was the first time for me where I was recording with my actual drummer. It was really nice. And Simon took care of everything else. Like I sent to him like clean guitars and everything clean, raw sessions, and he made his magic. It's
Which,
really
again, I've said this many times before. I said it to him too, because obviously he did the recording on Aversio Humanitatis, but he is an incredible producer.
yes,
Like I'm a big hi-fi fan, so you'll see the speakers in the background. I like listening to music that's well recorded and that sounds good. But I mean, he's made your record and the Aversio Humanitatis album sound just extraordinary.
yes. He's talented.
Yeah.
Really talented.
And then the drummer, is he a drummer that's been with you for a while? Is he somebody that you use when you play live?
Yes, the same drummer who plays with me now.
Yeah. How long has he been playing with you, and kind of what was his input into any of the songwriting? Because I'm one of the things I'm so impressed with on this new record, amongst many, is the drumming. I think it sounds there's so much variation going on, and there's so much emotion in his playing, which I don't think is very easy to bring out, especially sometimes when you play music that tends to be quite fast and busy and a lot going on. It's stunning effort.
About drums, I made all the composition. I made the songs. I use this kind of how you say that drum machine, software. I make the drums, and then he works on that. So of course he made some changes. He had some ideas, but the whole composition is basically mine. I
Yeah.
see Selbst like solo project. For me, this is a solo project. But of course, I don't know how to play drums. I need I need a drummer. But I let them to do some stuff. I'm not like a dictator. But the main structure of the songs is mine.
Yeah. And one place where you are the boss is you also own your own record label, Unpleasant Records.
That's correct.
What's the latest news with Unpleasant Records? What are you doing with them? Is there anything that you've signed that you can recommend people check out?
Right now, about the label, I'm a little, how you say that, like standby, because I was focused only in the album.
Mm.
But my main focus was to bring a little of support to other Venezuelan projects or bands. Oh, esto se pegó un poco. Okay, we are okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're fine. You had a little bit of a stutter there on the video, but it's absolutely fine.
Yes. Okay. Well, that was my main focus. The last thing I released was a Venezuelan band called Nox Desperatio.
Mm-hmm.
They play like raw melodic black metal. I try to support them a lot because for me they are like the best black metal band in Venezuela at this moment. I supported all the other bands like Moriturio.
Mm-hmm.
Is a project. I don't know if they are still working. I think like the band is split or something, but they released some good stuff. I made like a compilation tape with their demo, an EP they released some years ago. I think it's something that more people should listen. They play something in the vein of Sargates, that kind of bands, but they sound amazing. The vocals are amazing, really harsh. And I worked with a Chilean band named Fossa. They
Mm-hmm.
played Throes black metal, something like that, and they released a demo in 2016 that I love it. So I tried to get in contact with the band, and we made some agreement, and I supported them with the demo also. I made a small run of tapes, but it was nice because a lot of people like it, and they got a little more known because of that.
Yeah.
So that's what I tried, to give to maybe small or independent bands a little more support, to
So as far as the size of the scene in Venezuela, if Selbst were to play a show in Venezuela as an example, because I know that you guys played I don't know whether you actually went back and played in Venezuela, but I know you've played a few shows over the last couple of years. How many people would typically turn out to a gig?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. With the actual situation there, I don't know if there is people to go to a gig, But it will be nice for me if I could play in Venezuela someday. Will be nice. Will be great.
And kind of before coronavirus, what would how well supported would a metal show be in Chile as an example?
There is plenty people listen to metal here, but shows was more small venues. I don't know how many people in quantity, but it's like small. It depends. We started playing live in 2018, and the band wasn't known here in Chile. It's like maybe now there is more people interested in seeing the band in a gig. But with all this situation, I don't I don't know. I had like many plans for this year, but I think now is more interested and more interest in people.
Yeah. Well, I would suggest that that there would definitely be interest in you coming to Europe or playing in the US, just purely based on how well the new record has been received. You've never been outside of Chile or Venezuela to play?
No, only here in Chile for the moment. I want to make it possible, on a European tour or whatever, but it's a little complicated. We are really far. We need plenty of money for that, but I think that is definitely in my plans. I have to make it someday. I don't know if in 2 years or more. I don't know, but it is definitely in my plans.
Yeah, you guys supporting Rotting Christ with Utkena on the bill as well, Anniversary Humanitatis. That would be a lineup. So,
right.
I want to go back to growing up in Venezuela, because I think I'm curious. I'm always curious what it was like growing up in a country, particularly if you're into the music that you're into. I've spoken about being a metalhead in South Africa many times, but for you, listening to the music that you listened to in Venezuela, I guess first of all, how old were you when you discovered your first metal band, and what was the band? What were the circumstances? How did you get into this sordid lifestyle?
I remember the first like really extreme record I ever heard was from Cannibal Corpse, The Bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
I love that album. I don't remember exactly how old I was, maybe 15 or 16, something like that. But that for me was like, uh, before and after, something like that. Like, what the fuck is that,
I was about to say, it's like the first time that you hear stripped, raped, and strangled. It's like it 100% sticks with you for the rest of your life. If you're into this music, you will have heard that song at some point. And you'll never forget when you heard the song the first time.
Absolutely, time to time, I get back to that album. It's like I listen again. Like, wow, I remember how impressed I was at that moment, because it was like passing from something really I don't know like it was like a so big jump, like listening any kind of shit and Cannibal Corpse, like I know.
Yeah, it's like the temperature has raised significantly as soon as you hear them.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. And so what is the attitude like towards metal music, or what was the attitude like towards metal music in Venezuela? Because am I correct in saying there's quite a large group of or contingent of Catholic people in Venezuela, and religion is quite important there?
Yes, it's really important, really important. Well, I'm from a small city, I'm not from a big city, so there was like more strange to people, like see a guy like me in the street with long hair, with beard, Some people was like, hey, they say something to you even if they don't know you, I don't know. The small cities, small towns,
Oh
people is
yeah.
different. It's really different.
Yeah,
Um,
I grew up in that, so I know all about it. That's why I always laugh about it. Like I had long hair for a period of time. I don't think that annoyed them as much as it would have been more the t-shirts that I wore. And then also at some point I cut my hair and I had it like Wayne Static from Static X, and it was colored red. that they didn't like either.
wow.
So
Yes, there is a lot of religion in Venezuela. People is, I don't know, really Catholic, and I don't know,
yeah.
that stuff. Even for my family, it was like, oh, what happened to?
What happened to sweet little Jhonathan?
Exactly, but I'm a normal person. Just I like
Yeah.
this kind of music. I'm not like a rude guy because I listen to metal. I don't know. It's just something I like, and I was always the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, man. It was a bit of a shock for my parents as well. And I remember, especially when I was much younger, it wasn't so bad. By the time I'd gotten to death and black metal, I think I'd worn them down already. So they were very much against me liking anything like Metallica, and they hated Guns N' Roses because they saw a video of Axl running around in his underwear on stage, and that was like the worst thing you could show them.
Mm.
And then by the time that I was getting into things like Cannibal Corpse and Obituary, I think they just kind of given up. They were like, we've forbidden him to listen to this music so many times, he doesn't listen, so we may as well just say fuck it and just let him do what he wants. But I think I get the impression that the general population and your neighbors and the people in the city probably feel the same in Venezuela about metal that they do where I grew up. Whereas if it's not, if it doesn't conform to a certain set of standards, i.e., Jesus, then it's evil, and then you're really fair game as far as people being able to beat you up. Also, though, as far as religion is concerned, I always feel like anytime what I found in South Africa, and I'm curious to know whether you saw this in Venezuela, the worse it goes with the economy and the worse it goes with people's lives generally, the more they cling to Jesus. So it's like troubled times
Of course.
troubled times drive people to their knees.
Yes, that's totally right.
Yeah.
People, I don't know, maybe they are still waiting for religion to to save them from this disaster. I don't know. Maybe
They're waiting
people.
for God to send a lightning
Yes.
strike to kill Maduro.
Something
Yeah.
like that. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, maybe religion gives to people a little of how you say that, relief.
Yeah.
They don't have to I don't know, to think about things. They let everything to God, and that's maybe it's good, But I think people should, I don't know, should stop believing that kind of stuff. They should like take actions. Take, I don't know, maybe. Well, for me, it was more easy to leave the country, because there is another part that is hard living in Venezuela. Maybe people went to to protest. Um, we always saw like news of people being killed by police forces, and maybe in those cases it's more easy to people to, I don't know, wait to God to solve everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, for me, it was like, okay, I have to go because this has no like how you say that, like some solution. This
Yeah.
will be the
There's no
same.
future there.
There's no future, exactly.
Yeah.
So
So
maybe that's why people in Venezuela is so, you know.
So the police being heavy-handed with people, that's not just the way the fucking far left here want us to believe, the Western or anti-socialist propaganda.
Oh,
So sorry. What I was saying is the police in Venezuela being violent and being rough with people. That's not just anti-socialist American propaganda.
No, nothing at all. That's something I don't know that happened there a lot. A lot. I don't know. It's a fucking disaster. Communism. I don't want to get political, but sometimes
I'm with you though, mate. I've said to people many times before, like, I don't want to get political on the show, but if there's one thing in the world I fucking despise, it's communism and socialism, because I think they're both just a variation of fucking stealing from people and ruining people's lives, and I find it very, very troubling that so many people in this world look at that as the solution to our problems when it absolutely isn't. Capitalism has its flaws, but it's not been responsible for the hundreds of millions of people that have been killed in its name. So, yeah, I mean, we could probably talk about that for ages, but we want to talk about music, but I'm 100% with you.
When we talk about Venezuela, sometimes we had to get political. It's like the same right now.
Yeah.
Because Venezuela is associated, with political problems, in general.
Yeah.
Even when I remember when I started with Selbst, maybe when I was like getting the first reviews or the first interviews, people always says that. Like, I was expecting, I don't know, telenovelas from Venezuela. I was expecting to read something about Hugo Chavez, but I wasn't expecting to listen a black metal band or black metal project from there.
The thing is, it's such a shame too, because everything I've seen about Venezuela on, not necessarily in the documentaries about the horrors of socialism, but more on travel documentaries and stuff. It's such a beautiful country. It's a country with an extraordinary amount of natural beauty. Also, if we're honest, many very attractive women, and it's and it's just it's again, it's a little bit like South Africa. It's you have these communist lunatics running the place. They're getting rich while the rest of the people suffer, and then it's like like George Orwell's Animal Farm. Every time people complain, either they beat them up or they say, "If you send us away, the capitalists come back, and then it's going to be even worse."
Well, for me, it's like you can find beautiful places everywhere. I don't know, in every country. Some people say Venezuela is like a really special country because we have like everything, like, I don't know, you can find whatever you want there. I don't know, but for me it's pointless, if you will live in a country with no money, with no I don't know, chances of anything. It's like, for me, it's the same to live in any place, But yes, Venezuela is even how you say that, like the country with the largest oil reserves. I think the largest of one of the largest oil reserves. I don't know, but now the country is a total shit. So it doesn't matter if you have oil or you have whatever, because people can like how you say that, like people isn't doesn't benefit from that,
Yeah.
So I don't know, it's a shame.
Well, that's and this will be the last thing I'll say about communism, and we can talk music again. But this, to me, is the insanity of socialism and communism. Is the very people that vote for it will be the first people to go, fuck the government, they're ruining my life. And so then you vote for a bigger government, or a government that's going to be interfering in your life more actively. How the fuck does that make sense? But anyway, so but what actually just one last question about that. The one thing I was actually wondering, and this is why I asked you before we started recording, whether there was anything you wanted me to avoid talking about. I was worried that, because obviously there are certain countries where you can't actually be in the country or be adjacent to the country and say anything bad about it, because there'll be serious consequences for you. When you were in Selbst and when you were still in Venezuela, was there any sort of censorship imposed on you, or did you ever feel like, okay, I need to maybe watch out what I say here, or maybe watch out what I'm singing on this song, or whatever the case may be?
No, nothing like that. I always thought like the Anonymous Landscape EP was a little like a response of what I was living at that moment, because how you say, like, I felt like I have no future in Venezuela. So, but I don't know. There's plenty bands talking about politics in Venezuela. I don't know if they are passing through some problems because of that, maybe because they are not massive bands, maybe if you can be on TV, for example, talking bad about the government, there's no way possible of doing that because it's TV, it's more massive. But I think bands had no problems with that.
Yeah. So
small metal bands, like
Selbst album number 3, Fuck Maduro.
Fuck communism.
yeah. There you go. The transition you made from getting into Cannibal Corpse, death metal, etc., and into black metal. When did that happen, and what was the band that made you fall in love with black metal? Because I listen to your music, and what I hear is somebody who has a genuine, not only is genuine artistry and creativity in what you do, but a genuine love for this music.
I think I wasn't like a death metal guy, it was more for that record, I love it, that record. And I think at the same time I was like listening maybe Relatos De Angustia, maybe Dimmu Borgir, Mayhem, classics, Burzum. It was like at the same time for me. It was I never was like listening one kind of music, what genre, So sometimes I like death metal albums, I don't know, cross metal or sludge metal albums or whatever. I don't feel only about one genre. I feel I like to listen plenty stuff.
Mm-hmm. So, and what are you listening to right now? Like what's been getting your attention this year?
From this year, I don't know. I'm not like updated, about what is coming out all the time. But I've listening like how you say that, Mr. Ming, from Iceland. Sparty Dowdy, I love listening them.
Oh yeah, well I know you're talking about, but I'm terrible at pronouncing Icelandic bands' names. I don't even. I can go with Almert Me and I can go with Helfro, and that's it. Everything else is a fuck up.
I think everyone is in the same situation with those bands.
Yeah.
What else? I was listening the last Gates of Titan album. Is the band of my bass player and the drummer. They also play in that band. Shit like that. I don't know. I don't remember. I listening other stuff. More alternative rock. I was listening a little of Chevelle recently. It's alternative rock band from
Chevelle is like a radio rock band almost.
Something like that, yes.
Yeah,
I
obviously wouldn't listen to that because it's false, but I'm joking. I listen to a lot of stuff that's not metal as well. Like this year, I've really enjoyed the N Minor album. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. It's Phil Anselmo from Pantera. It's his acoustic record. So it sounds a lot like, I would say it sounds like Nick Cave and Mark Lanigan and Leonard Cohen, that kind of stuff. All three of whom I really like. And then I listen to some electronic stuff. I like quite sort of dark electronic music. I listen to some old school hip hop, less so nowadays. And then today, I've never liked them before, and somebody recommended a Hailang song on Twitter, I think, and I checked it out, and I was blown away. I was like, "Fucking hell, this is incredible!"
Nice.
But they've not. It's not been something that I've necessarily been drawn to before. Sometimes when I've listened to it, I don't know whether I'm just not in the mood, but I'm just like, this doesn't do much for me. But outside of you guys, two records has blown me away this year. I mentioned Utkena before, out of Greece, and then also the new Panzerfaust album. I don't know whether you've heard that yet.
Right.
The new Panzerfaust.
No, didn't.
Yeah, dude, do yourself a favor and check that out. It's called Sons of Perdition, Chapter 2. Unbelievable. Again, that's a great band. When you guys do tour, that would be a perfect band for you to go and play with.
Nice.
What
I will check.
You mentioned before that you'd had plans for 2020, and I don't want to drive you into a state of depression, but I guess if this coronavirus nonsense lifts and we're finally able to get back to normal, what are your plans for the band? What would you like to achieve with the band? I guess where would you like to see the new record take Selbst?
Well, for the moment, we will participate in an online fest. This year, it's the only thing we can do right now. It's good because it helped us to be a little more, I don't know, focus on something related to music. After that, I would like to first of all start rehearsing with the band, because we never rehearse these new songs. We had never the chance. So first of all, we need to play a lot, like to see how it feels. And I would like to do a tour. I would really like. Would be nice to go. There is some people asking for that. I don't know if I don't know if it is a good moment to make that kind of plans, because all the situation will be like a shit to go there and maybe find plenty restrictions, and I don't know.
You arrive there and it's like, all right, 14-day quarantine.
Yeah.
So yeah. What is it like in Chile as far as the coronavirus restrictions are concerned?
Well, now we can go to the streets like from or until 10 p.m.
Because the virus stops being infectious at 10 p.m. So, yeah.
You're right. Yeah. People always say that.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like I read a thing today. Apparently the virus can live on tennis rackets and on fucking footballs and rugby balls and stuff like that. But somehow it just doesn't stick to a shopping cart. So
exactly. But you know, at least people can going out a little more. People was stressed out here a lot. Because of the lockdown, but now I don't know. They are like testing. Like let's see what happens if we let people go from time to time. I don't know how if the cases are increasing or not. I don't see. Watch the news. I just try to take care of myself, and that's it.
Yeah.
But at least we are we have how you say that allowed to do more stuff.
Yeah.
At least on day and in the week. Not weekends. Weekends we have to be in home.
Oh, really? So you can go out in the week, but you're not allowed to be.
Yes.
You're not allowed to be out over the weekend.
You can go out, but you need to how you say to get a permit. How you say that? An auto.
You have to get almost like in France, you have to get written permission in order to be allowed out.
Exactly.
So I'm just looking at the numbers now. So 429,000 cases in Chile, 11,781 deaths. Of which those death figures are suspicious, because we know that they've now been revised to say that in America, at least, I don't know whether they've done it in other countries, only 6% of people died purely from coronavirus.
Wow.
In all other cases, it was because they suffered from obesity or heart disease or, some underlying condition. It wasn't just pure coronavirus, but yeah, it's a weird thing. So you can go out in the week, but apparently the virus gets super infectious over the weekend.
People is doing what they want.
Yeah.
But for the government, you need to get like an authorization, something like that, to go to the streets. You have to, I don't know, you have to say what you want to do, how you say it, what you have to go, or where you have to go.
Yeah.
Something like that. But people is doing what they want, It's like, I don't know.
Kind of the same over here. They're trying to ban gatherings of more than 6 people here now. I doubt very much that's going to make a difference. People will still be out. If the sun is, the way that England is, if the sun shines, then firstly, everyone's outside. And secondly, you've never seen so many out of shape, pale people without shirts in your entire life, crammed together in one place. So, but, brother, on that note, we can call it. I know that you don't do a lot of these, and I just want to say I massively appreciate the time that you were willing to give me. As you know, I'm a huge fan. I said it at the top of the show, and I've kind of probably emphasized it a little more than I ought to. But I've had a great time talking to you. I hope one day we get to see each other in person. I'm unbelievably happy and excited for the success you're having with this record. I feel like like Selbst was like one of my big discoveries of a couple of years ago, and it's just great to see how well this new album's doing. I can't wait to hear what you do in the future.
Many thanks for that, man. I hope to meet you in person someday, and I hope all the situation, change, because we want to play, we want to do plenty stuff. But
yeah,
many thanks to you for the interest and your support to my music, man.
Without a doubt. You were in my you guys made it onto my top 50 all-time favorite black metal bands list off the back of one record. So I'll have to do a revision next year, see where the new album lands. It'll obviously depend on how much money you're able to send me beforehand and some merchandise and stuff like that. But we'll deal separately about that. All right, brother. Thank you very much. Take care of yourself, and we'll speak soon.
Thank you, man.
Bye-bye.
No
That was my conversation with Jhonathan of Selbst. The album, just to remind you once again, in case you forgot, is Relatos De Angustia. It is available right now on Debumu Morty Productions. The song that you heard is The Weight of Breathing, and like the rest of the album, it is pretty goddamn spectacular. So thank you very much to Jhonathan for his time. I hope that you guys all enjoyed that. And speaking of things that I enjoy, let's talk about the new Napalm Death. So the record is called Throes of Joy in the Jaws of Defeatism, and I'll just be very honest with all of you. I've probably had to do a couple of takes on that one because it is a mouthful, but the rest of the record is a mouthful as well. This is the 16th album in the Napalm Death discography. In my view, I don't really think these guys have missed a step, more or less since Fear, Emptiness, Despair, all the way back in 1990, I think 1994 it came out. And it was the soundtrack to me ruining many a school disco and garage party. But that's besides the point. This is the sequel to Apex Predator Easy Meat, which came out in 2015. And it really kind of continues on from a lot of themes that record put forth. In particular, the use of some of the kind of post-punk noise stuff that I know that everybody in the band enjoys. So, you'll hear influences from the likes of Swans, Killing Joke. There's even what I think sounds awfully similar to Death Grips to me on the record, which is way back at the end. The final song, A Belly Full of Salt and Spleen, kind of has this really crazy discordant sample going in through, sort of an industrial noise track, but it just hangs together extremely well, and it works brilliantly. I think really the key to Napalm Death, I've said this many times before, and I'm going to say it again in case you're new to the podcast. I personally think that Napalm Death's success lies in the fact that Shane Embury is a man who has increasingly shown the bravery as he's kind of matured in his career to draw on a very vast well of musical appreciation, which I know he has because I've met him a couple of times, and I know that he listens to a lot of different music. And I think having the confidence and the bravery to utilize that in Napalm Death's music has been absolutely to their benefit, and it really, really shows on this album. Whether this will convince the naysayers or people that aren't Napalm Death fans to give the band a go, I wouldn't say so. At the end of the day, the album is still a Napalm Death record. Songs like Fuck the Factoid, Backlash Just Because are kind of straight ahead, grind tracks, and then you've got, songs like Amoral, which, has a bit of a Killing Joke vibe to it, spicing things up. You also have one of my favorite tracks, and the song that I'm going to play spicing things up. This is a tune called Invigorating Clutch. It reminds me a little bit of kind of a grindy sounding Celtic Frost, but as you will hear, it is simply magical. Anyway, speaking of magical, Throes of Joy in the Jaws of Defeatism is a great record. I highly recommend it. It's available on Century Media Records. Love Napalm Death, and this is an album that's certainly not changed that view in any shape whatsoever. So, like I said, this is a track called Invigorating Clutch. Clutch off the new Napalm Death album, available right now on Century Media, and I'll post a link to the Napalm Death Bandcamp in the description of this podcast. And as before, if you buy anything from them, then let them know that old Jackson at Into the Necrosphere sent you. That, by the way, is how my Panzerfaust interview happened. So firstly, I think I owe Scott Bamford an overdue acknowledgement and a thank you, because it was actually thanks to a comment that he made to Panzerfaust that they got in touch with me. But it simply proves that if you lot support the bands that I keep yabbering on about on the podcast, then it gets easier for me to book them, because I will tell you this much: there are some fucking cretins working in the music industry. The vast majority of record labels, with the exception of Katie and Letitia at Season of Mist, and maybe one or two other folks here and there, are just absolutely atrocious. And I don't even want to get started on, so-called PR companies like the Noise Cartel. I mean, when that fucking idiot that runs the place isn't busy doing his YouTube masterclasses on PR, he's actively ignoring any messages or any emails, asking for any help whatsoever. And it's not like I'm going to people saying, please send me some promos and some free shit. I can afford my own music. It's just asking for interview slots or interview availability for people, and most of these guys won't give you the fucking time of day. So again, if I were in a band, I sure as hell wouldn't pay people like that a red cent, because I don't actually think they do any work. But secondly, if you guys want to, and I should say the point of this rant, if you guys want certain people on the show, make sure you buy their stuff, and when you do, tell them that you heard about them on Into the Necrosphere, and invariably they might reach out to me, and we might be able to set something up. On that topic, or on that note, let's switch over to the news. And we are on Metal Storm first and foremost. Soilwork announced Swedish shows. Yay! Soilwork are 100% one of the most overrated piles of muck to ever creep up the fucking drain pipe of the metal scene. Monster Magnet announced a celebration of Power Trip North American Tour. I love Power Trip. I generally really, really enjoy Monster Magnet, even though they're not grim. With the exception, I didn't really like the last two records, and I always look a little cynically at bands that continue to arrange these celebration tours of a particular record, because it feels to me like the reason they're doing it is because they're playing some of their new stuff, and the audience is kind of looking at them like, what is this fucking wank? I would not be surprised if Monster Magnet were in that boat, but either way, I wouldn't mind seeing Monster Magnet play some of those Power Trip songs. When there was a period of time when I used to travel to go and fetch my daughter, and to avoid the traffic, I used to travel really late at night. But on them country lanes, it's super dark, and if you're a bit sleepy, it's fucking dangerous too. Because I've had a few times when I nearly fell asleep, and Monster Magnet, it was my band of choice to sing to keep me awake. So there's a useless bit of trivia for you. Dödsfärt premiere new video. Greek black metal formation Dödsfärt premiere a video clip for the Deterioration track, taken from the new compilation output Death Shall Purify the Wounds of Your Fragile Mortality. It's a fucking great name for a compilation. The entire effort is available for listening via Bandcamp widget. I had a listen to that song, and got to say, it seems like there are things astir in Greece. Obviously, we've spoken about Udkana at length. We've spoken about Rotting Christ at length. There's a fair few other bands from Greece that are pretty good, but Dödsfärt was a band I didn't know of before, and they certainly sound like one I shall be paying attention to moving forward. It would be so cool if there was another country that could kind of step up the way that Iceland or Poland has done in the last say 2-3 years. But let's see what happens. Maybe Greece is that country. Leaves Eyes share new song. I can't imagine how dreadful that would be. I would say there's a lot of shit that I've listened to over the years, but the one style of music that I wish had never seen the light of day as far as metal is concerned was that Beauty and the Beast doom nonsense that used to come out in the 90s. Like bands like Theatre of Tragedy, where you had the the woman singing sounded like Enya, and then you have some fucking geek dressed in a long sleeve velvet robe or a long sleeve velvet fucking button up shirt growling next to her, and it was always so insipid. Everything was, based on Shakespeare or some other fucking garbage. And just as far as what I've spoken about many times before about metal needing to be vicious and badass and gnarly, it just missed the point completely. Abath to embark on Australian tour next year. I heard that Abath has gotten over his issues with the booze, but whilst he was learning that when you use the booze you lose, many of his or much of his recorded output has been complete and utter trash. And I have to say, there's sometimes that I listen to At the Heart of Winter, and I can't believe that the same guy who was involved in making that record, that masterpiece, was also involved in making the two absolute turds that he attached his name to over the last couple of years. Hopefully, now that he is sober, his creativity and his genius will return to him, although you never know. I'm going to talk. I did say last week that I might be talking about the new Anal Nathrak today. I will talk about it probably in 2 weeks' time, nearer the release of the record. And I'm going to say this: as you all know, I don't make a habit of giving bad or scathing reviews. But I feel like, considering where those guys were at in my top 50 black metal bands, where they were, the fact that almost all their records have invariably been in the top 3 of the year that they came out in, I do feel like I owe it to you all to give you my thoughts on Endarkenment, and I'm going to tell you right now, those thoughts are not positive. And the reason I thought about that after reading the article about Abath was because I do think there comes a point for a lot of people that are in metal where they just don't have the inspiration anymore. For whatever reason, they've attained a level of success, a level of comfort in their life. Something has happened to lower the anger levels or the frustration levels that give oxygen to their artistic expression. And I think when you get to that point, you kind of need to be big enough to say, I had a good run. I'm going to go out on top, because it just becomes so blatantly obvious when somebody's not feeling the music anymore, when they're not really into it anymore. Abath is one of those people, and Anal Nathrak are definitely one of them. I think that Mick Kenny moving to California is the worst thing that ever happened to Anal Nathrak. And I'm sure that he would disagree, but I'm also sure that he'll never come on the show, so we'll never have to talk about it. Moving on. Sodom reveal new album artwork and tracklist. I haven't listened to this yet, but Marco actually sent me a list of expletives describing his thoughts on the new Sodom, which is a shame because in terms of bands that have kind of been relevant and have made good music for a long time, well beyond a lot of other of their peers' sell by date, these guys have been pretty good. Napalm Death, great example of a band who still seem to have the inspiration and have remained relevant literally from basically this when they started up until now. However, screaming from the sewer of irrelevance is the new Benediction. I know that I placed Benediction on my top 50 death metal countdown list. But that was primarily based on earlier stuff or older stuff. This new Benediction record, I fear the worst. I might come out and be surprised, but the first single sounded like a load of fucking muck, and the second one, Stormcrow, sounds terrible too. Isn't Stormcrow some crap off of either Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones? I don't know, but either way, that's another thing that I don't like is people singing about fucking fantasy nonsense in metal. I don't think it belongs in the genre. I can't stand it. Carcass present another track from Despicable EP. I've not listened to this yet. I probably should have actually listened to it before I started recording this news segment, but I will also take a wager that it's not very good. That being said, let's give it a couple of seconds and see what old Jackson makes of it. I've also just realized that's the second time on this episode I've spoken about myself in the third person. I'm going to start speaking in tongues very shortly if this fucking thing doesn't load up a little faster. The title of the track, The Long and Winding Beer Road, already fills me with dread. But right, let's hit play and let's see what happens. The opening riff sounds instantly awful. Let's skip in 50 seconds and let's see if it actually picks up. Oh my god. That sounds like absolute crap, much as I expected. Again, I'm sorry. I know many people will think that Carcass is still a great band. I don't. I think that Dissenting the Insulabrius, or whatever the hell it's called, is very good. Reek of Putrefaction's cool. Beyond that band is wildly overrated. And like, if I had to draw a distinction between them and a band like At the Gates went away, came back, and they never tried to rehash all of their old stuff. They didn't try and make Slaughter of the Soul Part 2. They brought something out that was modern but still sounded like At the Gates. I feel like that last that last Carcass record was basically them coming back and going, let's take everything that we did that people liked on Heartwork and Swan Poo and make an album that sounds exactly like it. It's overrated nonsense. The second that Godless from the metal podcast liked it, I should have known that we're dealing with fucking nonsense. Is there anything else worth looking at? Yeah, I think we just skimmed past Celestial Season, which were another one of those Beauty and the Beast doom metal bands that I mentioned before. I think I actually read a little while ago that those bands actually were referred to as Beauty and the Beast style vocals. You should fucking have your hair shaved off and sent to the army the second that you refer to your band as a band that deploys Beauty and the Beast style vocals. Right, doesn't look like there's anything else on the Metal Storms worth checking out. So let's move over to Blabbermouth, or as it should be called, the official Democrat guide to rock music. Static X releases official music video for Dead Souls. Tonight, actually, at the time that I'm recording this, is my interview with Tony Campos. I won't lie to you guys. I was a little nervous about doing that at first because, I kind of wondered, does he fit into the grand scheme of things as far as Into the Necrosphere is concerned? So I'm going to trade. I don't yet know what I'm going to ask him. I don't usually prepare for interviews. I kind of just like to hit record and see where things go. But I will probably focus principally on the first Static X album, which I love, and then on Assassino, and maybe we'll talk about some death metal and about various other things. We'll see what comes up. But, the new Static X record isn't bad. I just don't really think that they did anything really worth listening to be frank, after Wisconsin Death Trip. Wisconsin Death Trip, on the other hand, just an absolute fucking masterpiece, as I've said many, many times. Watch Fear Factory's Mike Heller play songs from upcoming albums. So this, I assume, is the live drummer that Dino used part of the money he scammed off of fans to to hire for the record. I still don't understand how anybody wouldn't put two and two together and figure out that the guy is talking online about him getting divorced and about how he's got debts and he's been declared bankrupt, and then all of a sudden there's a fucking fundraiser to put out the new Fear Factory. I just think that's ridiculous. Or is he going to reward people by letting them come to shows for free or letting them get a free t-shirt? I highly doubt that. King Parrot unveils new single Nor Is Yours featuring Philip Anselmo. King Parrot is not really a band I have much thoughts on either way. I do have many thoughts about Philip Anselmo. I don't know whether you guys watched that Down live stream that they did. Probably now about I can't even remember. This must have been about 2-3 weeks ago, but it was fucking excellent. And I really feel like Phil getting off the sauce has helped his vocals. But his presence on stage is just still extraordinary. And again, we're talking a second ago about people that have managed to remain relevant. You have to hand it to that dude. Whether you like or dislike him, he has done Scour, which is excellent, and Minor, which is fucking brilliant, Down, which is superb. Not as big of a fan of Phil Anselmo and the Illegals, but I can see why people might like it. But either way, he's done an awful lot of very good things after Pantera, and he remains interesting and relevant to this day, and he is still a absolutely superb frontman. Having seen him with Down, I was just absolutely blown away, and I'll never forget when I was watching them and they did they played a song and the guitars were like ringing, and then all of a sudden he steps up to the microphone and he belts out the first verse of Dazed and Confused by Led Zeppelin. And that London Astoria was fucking shaken to its foundations. One thing that I don't get either is what the fuck is it with millennials and this new trend to hate on Pantera? I've seen a few people post on social media all these fucking dumb memes about the band, and yeah, I don't get it, man. Pantera are a great band, and again, whether you like them or you don't like them, their influence on metal was just absolutely extraordinary. Not only was their influence extraordinary, they had one of the best drummer-guitarist combinations on the face of the earth. And on top of that, they achieved success entirely through absolutely no compromise, which is more than you can say for complete and utter fucking twaddle like Slipknot. Let's move on. Paradise Lost 25th anniversary reissue of Draconian Times to include a disc of rare and previously unreleased material. I had a look at this. I know that my buddy Rick Eaglestone was very excited about this, and I really like Draconian Times, and as you all know, with the exception of the last record, I'm a bit of a Paradise Lost nut hugger. By the way, if you hear racket here in the background, it's because I've got the blackout blinds down to keep the lighting romantic and ambient, and there seems to be a bit of a breeze that's making them knock, and frankly, I'm too fucking lazy to stand up and get it sorted. But anyway, I had a look at the rare and previously unreleased material that's being included on here. It's mostly demos. And I might be in the minority here, but has any one of you ever spent an extraordinary length of time listening to demos of an album? Because I sure as fuck haven't. I mean, I might listen to it by accident when Cobuzz creeps into some tracks that are included at the end of a bonus edition of an album. But I mean, for the most part, I would only very rarely listen to a demo if I'm interested to see what the song sounded like before it was recorded. It generally speaking sounds fucking shit, especially on records recorded 25 plus years ago. So I don't know what's so exciting about that. I do find it interesting that they're re-releasing Draconian Times though, because I almost kind of feel like I wouldn't be surprised if when they play next year you hear one, maybe two songs off the new album, and the vast majority comes off earlier stuff like Draconian Times, or maybe they have a Draconian Times celebration special, because that new album, again, Paradise Lost, I've stuck by them through fucking everything. I even liked Believe in Nothing, but this new album, to me, it just does not sound like a band that wanted to make the music that they ended up making. I feel like they made the stuff on there under duress, and it sounds worse for it. I would rather a band make something that everybody in the band truly believes in, and even if I don't like it necessarily, I don't like the style of music, but at least keep it authentic to what you want to do. But something like that Paradise Lost album, yeah, there's nobody that's going to be able to convince me that they went in and they said, yeah, we really want to make a Death Doom record, but by the way, let's throw in all of these extra kind of gothic rock songs that hark back to our careers 15 years ago, and surprise, sound way better, and like we're way more into it than the other stuff. John Bush says solo tour celebrating his era with Anthrax could happen in 2023. I have said my piece on John Bush many times. I've seen Anthrax a couple of times with John Bush, and I will go on record saying this till my fucking dying day. what Anthrax did to John Bush is a fucking disgrace, number one. Number two, he is a vastly, exponentially superior frontman to Joey Belladonna. And another controversial statement, I personally think the John Bush albums are better than the fucking crap that they have recorded with Joey Belladonna, especially the recent stuff. So you do your thing, John Bush, and I'll be right in front of that audience yelling along. Lamb of God play first pandemic era concert. Am I seeing correctly, or has Randy got pink dreadlocks now? Let's have a gander if I click on that link. I mean, Randy is a very cool frontman, a great vocalist. New Lamb of God album, as I said many times before, is excellent. But I really hope that's fucking lighting, because it looks like shit. And actually, to be frank, and again, apologies if I offend anybody saying this, but a 47-year-old man, or fucking 50 years old, or however old Randy is, shouldn't be walking around with hair that looks like that. Another thing that I for sure won't do is be lectured on fucking politics from somebody who thinks that it's acceptable to run around with dreadlocks like that at his age. Which I know is probably me giving away my age. Sepultura's Andreas Kisser says auditioning for Metallica in 1992 was one of the best experiences of his life. I didn't know that he auditioned for them. I would assume... there we go. Auditioning as Metallica's or James Hetfield's temporary replacement on guitar only, while James recovered from being burned on stage back in 1992. Dang, that would have been very interesting. I like Andreas Kisser very much, and I really, really like post Cavalera Sepultura. I know I've said it before, but I'm just going to say it again in case you lot didn't catch it before. I think it's a lot more inventive. I think it's a lot more interesting, and it sure as shit's a lot more fucking stimulating to me than old man Max yelling "fuck all you bullshit" every 5 fucking seconds on an album. Devin Townsend, a life during COVID-19. It's okay to be depressed and despondent every now and then. Yeah, I suppose it is. It's a tragedy to me. I remember when I heard City for the first time, I fucking shat myself. I literally was at the listening booth in a place called CD Warehouse in Johannesburg. I heard the song. I heard the first track, All Hell, the New Flesh, and I fucking grabbed the CD and I ran to the counter and I plonked my money down, and I was obsessed with that album, and with everything that Devin did, probably right up until the antidepressants kicked in and all this cheerful fucking nonsense started getting made, and from there on out, it's just not for me. I like to be convinced by what I'm seeing, and I don't like happiness in music. I don't think happiness belongs in music. Here's another thing that I find utterly hysterical, by the way, and I'm not going to dwell on politics, but every single fucking this is why I say that Blabbermouth, by the way, is a Democrat's guide to to rock music, because now all of a sudden all these guys in metal who've been going on about fuck the government and fuck the Supreme Court and this, that, and the other for big chunks of their career, now all of a sudden are going on about the amazing litigious prowess of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, or RBG as they're referring to her. I sympathize with RBG's family. Anytime someone passes away, it's a tragedy. She had a good run at 87. She leaves behind a very, very impressive legacy. But it just strikes me as odd that almost everyone on Blabbermouth is suddenly a fucking expert in Ruth Bader Ginsburg and the Supreme Court of America. Anyways, right. Let's see if there's anything else before I call time on this piece. At 54, Elizabeth Shue leaves nothing to the imagination. Some naked shit. Biohazard's Billy Graziade teams up with 2 teachers on Crew Sock's Sock Company. I would love for Biohazard to make a new album. And I would very much love for Evan Seinfeld to go back in time and bring back the real Evan Seinfeld of 1995-ish, not this pretentious fucking jackass that has replaced him. I don't know whether you guys have actually heard some of Evan Seinfeld's new stuff, but it's so god-awfully shit. I'm going to try and find some of it now so that you guys can hear what it sounds like. And in doing so, I'm also going to give away what I tend to spend most of my time watching on YouTube, which is a combination of barbecue videos, car videos, because I'm shopping around for a car right now, audio shit, computer stuff, because I'm in the process of buying a new gaming computer, and what else have got there, and politics, obviously. But let's see, Evan Seinfeld new music. There must be something, yeah. I heard it a little while ago. Authentic, that's what it's called. All right, brace yourselves. If you've not heard this yet and you had any love for Evan Seinfeld, or indeed Biohazard, I'm sorry to say, but you're about to have your hearts shattered like Ralph on The Simpsons when Lisa breaks up with him and they slow-mo it. If you guys can slow-mo this and post it on Instagram and tag me, I'd appreciate this. But feast your ears on this horseshit. The build-up, obviously, is coming.
If you really out here, you know shit get really real. Can't get caught slipping, bro. It's kill or be killed, yo. Authentic guy was really in the field.
My God, that's a fucking load of shit. I mean, you think that Corey Taylor has fallen from grace, but I mean, this is just, it's fucking abominable. Let's skip to the middle of the track.
I'll be complete knowing I went out like a soldier. Now I'm elite, no longer looking over shoulders. Stick up.
Good fucking God. And by the way, this is the same guy. This is the same guy that was responsible for this awesomeness, which, you know, Biohazard, if you've ever seen them live, they were one of the best bands to see live that you could possibly see. And I know that, again, dyed in the wool black metal dudes and death metal guys will agree with me on this, but I mean, they were just absolutely incredible. What has happened to this man?
It only happens to us. I can't deny reality. As life.
Jesus. I mean, I know people change, but fuck me. Evan, if you'll never hear this, but you're a fucking douche. As soon as you got that stupid all-black tattoo down your arm, I knew the end was near. Why do people even get that all-black fucking crap tattoo down their arms? I mean, I know sometimes you want to cover up stuff, but, you know, it looks to me like he just decided it would look really cool if my arm looked like a fucking ink splotch, or if I could run around and pretend to be a ninja without putting my costume on. Right, that's enough of the news for today. And we have come to the end of another thrilling episode in the ongoing saga of Into the Necrosphere. And I am willing to give anybody that can tell me where I stole that line from a free Into the Necrosphere t-shirt. So hit me up if you know where I got that, where I pilfered that line from. Tell me if you guess correctly, you can get a free Into the Necrosphere shirt. Thank you very, very much for tuning in. I hope that you guys enjoyed what you saw. There was an extra lengthy news rant because I haven't had one for a while, and weirdly I get a lot of positive feedback on it, so either you guys are laughing with me or you're laughing at me, but you're watching either way, and that's what's important. I hope that every single one of you have a fucking great week ahead of you, and from the mean streets of Surbiton with a fucking blinds clanging like pieces of hung shit from this fucking window, I am wishing all of you guys a fond farewell.